Howdy doody. Interesting. It's strange, like I'm becoming cynical. I guess not even becoming, I'm becoming more and more cynical. And I just question the narrative we're given. Oh, mi scusa. Oh yeah, what else did I want to do this? Sorry about that, I forgot I wanted to. There's a couple of places for people to come to me what thing I'm wrong about. Yeah, that's interesting. I sent, so there's this female I know, she's actually really good at what she does. She's very truther-ish. But then in some respects, she still believes in Jesus, I guess. I don't even really know what her... Like, I think people like her are really difficult because they're struggling internally so much. They know their bullshit is bullshit, but they programmed to want to believe in something so bad that they do. But she posted she said, or I posted on something, said the Balfour Declaration is just more distraction. Look up the auto-emancipation pamphlet. And she said, I don't know what that is. Which is a weird thing, right? Because you'd think she'd just look. Just go look. If you know what the base of what, we're talking about is, if I tell you, we're talking about Balfour Declaration, I'm like, yeah, well, you should look past that. That should, wake you up. I bought a lotto ticket the other day. It just dawned on me. I don't buy lottery tickets because I really hate losing. It's a strange thing, but I know you're like, what? Everybody hates losing. No, I get it, but like when it comes to like raffles and shit, I hate that feeling that you get when you're waiting, and you like it. Why would I want to bring that to myself every day? Those people that play the lottery like crazy. Why would you ever want to do that? If it weren't for being Sunday, I would have titled this video, Islam is Awesome, in reference to Islam Makhachev. It's weird. Islam Makhachev, Israel Adesanya. People are weird. Christian, lots of people named Christian. Some weird shit, man. Like, I really like apple pie. I'm gonna name my kid apple pie. Fucking love it. It's good, man. Apple pie. Oh, then we have our first standard troll crying for attention. Weird. Weird. It's always weird. But so I'm having a lot of internal struggle with all of this because I mad in a way, you know. Like I'm watching Cooper put out a video today, and you know, there's something to be said about a guy that can put out videos like he does every couple of days. Because those seem like those would be pretty difficult videos to make. Like, they're not just videos you just slap together. They're videos that you have to put time in. You can't just go live like I do and make it work. He's got a bunch of examples he needs to point to and clips and all that shit. And research. And script writing. It's like it's... He definitely fits that bill of Israel paying $7,000 a month, $8,000 a month to people to be influencers, to distract people, and that's all it ever comes down to is it's distraction, because that's all he ever does. He talks about important shit that doesn't matter. Right. Yeah, I know, it's how it works. What? But it's hard for me not to see it anymore. And I wanted to find a chat GPT style thing that I could talk to today. And I'm here on Gemini. But I don't know if Gemini actually talks. But I just, you know. It's so strange how everybody is so distracted. And everybody is like, I can't imagine what's motivating people. Like, if you're not motivated by the genocide, then what motivates you? And I think we're seeing it play out, the obviousness of controlled opposition. There's this weird thing that's happening that I think I see it. And what history has shown me is that when I get that weird feeling where I think I see something and it goes against the narrative, it goes against the popular opinion, I just need to embrace it and try to figure out what it is. Not just go, oh, well, talking about Israel makes people uncomfortable, so I won't do it. Because that's, literally, for the last decade, that's what's happened with me. I've tried to tell you about Israel, and I got told not to do it. Which was weird, being told not to do it by people who I'm under the impression they're on the same boat as me. We're on the same flotilla. Only to be told, no, go back to talking about chemtrails. Wonder what ever happened to good old Colton. Lion-ass Colton. There's been so many people that have come and gone. characters that have come and gone on my feed, and people that would be here every day would lived for what I was saying, and then seemingly strange things would happen. But there's been many times where I've had that sort of what the fuck feeling, and with it usually comes significant sea change. Somewheres in the scenario, somewheres in the narrative we're given, this tends to lead somewhere, and I'm too seasoned to just ignore my intuitions anymore. And you've been programmed and seasoned to actually do that. You're supposed to ignore those intuitions. But I think, like, if you just start, like, the thing that's so, like with religion, right? If your shit's right, then you should want people to ask questions. You should want people to point out inconsistencies, or at least perceived inconsistencies. My wife got mad at me because she's very much a believer in star charts and astrology and rock crystals having powers. She's a witch, pagan person, and I said, well, I'm down to, like, I'd love to be able to talk to you about it and whatever. And she goes, well, you just come at it thinking that all you want to do is pick it apart. You're just looking for things to be wrong. And it's like, yeah, but isn't that what you want? Don't you want somebody to point out those things so that A, you have the answers, but B, they don't have those questions? Like, I wouldn't want anybody to just go along with my show because, I don't know, you like this face. Whatever, I don't know what it would be, but I want you to go along with things because it makes sense. And if you have any sort of issues or criticisms of what I'm doing, what I'm talking, then let's have it. Let's hear those things. Let's get better. Don't be arrogant and think that you're just going to point something out and I'm going to go, oh, okay, I'm going to change it. That's foolish. Unless what you say is like super profound, which there is that possibility. You could point something out that I just hadn't seen. It was obvious and there's no way I can get around. If that's the case, do it. How else do I get better? If we focus on everything I'm good at, that gets boring real quick. If we focus on where I can improve, well, that's the only way I get better. Focus. We have to be focused on improvement. And it's not like I don't have my share of detractors, that's for sure. So they should be here, firing away. Like, it's strange. It's just strange. And it's unique because you don't see it everywhere. You don't see the Ian Carrolls of the world getting this. Ian Carroll does great things. Ian Carroll reaches lots of people. Ian Carroll exposes, a very, I wouldn't say well-hidden truth, but obvious truth. Understand it. You'll never stop learning. Sure. I'm more concerned with who built the fence. You know, I want to know who built the fence and where the arguments came from, both sides of the story. You know, I mean, like, to me, I think we need to ask deeper questions than we do. We need to try to find a deeper understanding because, you know, it depends on how you go into something, what you get out of it. You know, if you go into it thinking that it's all just true and there's nothing to see here, you're going to read over all the same shit that somebody skeptical is going to catch on. And that's what history sort of seems like to me. Is like you know, school and the system itself, they don't teach us history in a way that like you're supposed to, you know, pick it apart and figure things out. History is written like it's there, and then you're supposed to discover it. And you're supposed to, you know, you're just supposed to accept that it's true. There's no questioning any of it. It's the truth. You know, Paul Revere, Paul Revere, Paul Revere, Paul Revere, Paul Revere. Oh wait, it was a Mexican guy. You know, it's all just bullshit. And when you look at the way everything just works today, you know, when you look at the narrative we're given today and you know, this whole like the president of the United States right now, his whole shtick is like America first. America first. Israel first, then America. You know, like it's like, why does anybody still fall for that bullshit? Even shit like this goofy ass droopy cartoon. It's doing one of these. This is this blah blah blah. It's the same joke. Like Droopy had to cross it. Oh, gotta make the wagon. Yeah, see, cowboys and Indians narrative. Oh, yeah, the merry-go-round. Yeah, the same thing over and over again. It's the same in so many different cartoons. Like they all had a script that they were writing from. Airplane them out. Help the previous administration before Biden, the Obama administration, deported more illegals than the current administration. That's because it was before the internet. We were growing up. We were forcibly doing our own research instead of relying on others in their words. But see, that's where your arrogance sort of comes in, right? You've always had to rely on other people and their words. What you consider to be research is just, you know, it's just you finding what they want you to find. You know, you're following a map to the history that you want. And when you go into it just believing it, you will. You know, you'll just skip over all the shit and not ask the questions. But when you go into things skeptically and, you know, something is you know, outlandish and insane is the gas lighting system that, you know, the underground gas lines that used to run everywhere and would you know, light the streets at night because people all had those gas lanterns in their front yards, and gas, you know, lit and heated homes back then as well. And you read the narrative, and at some point it says that the Chinese have been doing this since 500 BC, where they ran, you know, gas and brine pipes that were made of bamboo to light and heat homes, and then whatever the brine was for, I'm not really sure, but and you just and you, wow, that's fascinating. That is so cool. They did that, and you just keep going. Instead of going, they did what? They ran gas lines with bamboo pipes? How? These are the things that this is that next step, that next level in this, that you understand even when you don't think there's going to be conspiracy, even when you think it's something simple as dry ice, even though you think it's just some dumb, superficial nothing, that why would dry ice matter, blah, blah, blah. If you look into it skeptically, you're going to find that the narrative we're given makes no sense. It points to something else. It points to the Tartaria sort of narrative that we were never given. Why didn't we learn about Tartaria? Why didn't we learn about airships? Why didn't we learn about all these crazy things that that according to the mainstream history did exist? There's no questioning whether Tartaria existed. It's just how much are we taught? Why weren't you told about the Havara Agreement in school? That should be one of the biggest questions you all have, because it's understated and it's sort of overlooked just how much they have used the Holocaust to their benefit, and using that have fostered so much sympathy and willingness to overlook what they do because they were the victims. And you start to find out that narrative that's been used to guilt you into giving in, agreeing that they must be God's chosen people. You're not. You're just a schmuck. You're just some dumb goyim. But those are God's chosen people. You've been tricked into that, and a lot of that was the Holocaust. And when you start breaking that bit down, well, then the narrative doesn't stand up. It's easier to disbelieve someone than to believe them. You do the exact same thing. Do I? Give me some examples of me doing the exact same thing. I guess that makes you just as bad as me. Damn our arrogance. But that's what I've been trying to tell you. There's two sides to a fence to everything. Dude, like, this is the arrogance coming through. That he's telling me something. Like I didn't think there were at least two sides to every story. Like, most of what I'm saying isn't the other side of the story. There's the official narrative, and then I'm talking about something else. So we're already talking about two sides. But see, this is the arrogance in that you can't acknowledge that you're doing it. No, that's what you do. No, don't point out what I'm doing. I'm arrogant. I was saying this is what other people do, not me. Yeah, sure, buddy. When you realize there's way more than two sides to a story, when you realize that, like, at some point, like, an open mind is one thing. And I have an open mind to religion. If you can come up with something that makes any sort of sense, I'll consider it. But at the same time, it's 100% not true. It's fucking dumb. It's all just dumb friar control scheme bullshit. And I've closed the door on that. Like, that's what countless hours of research has shown me. It's all bullshit. And it's just strange how people, we're so defensive and we're so arrogance, man. It's just the arrogance. Everybody wants to be right. Everybody thinks that being wrong makes them wrong. And it's such a weird thing to experience. Let's see. Oh, it used to be transported without cardboard and tar pipes. With cardboard and tar pipes. Why do you gotta take one side at a time? Why can't you be open on both? Here's an example. Right. Oil used to be transported by cardboard and tar pipes. I know I believe it, don't you? Like the arrogance in making that statement and thinking it's the truth, there's no doubt about it. There's no way that my perspective could be wrong is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, it's really fucking stupid. It's the Vatican. Yep, it's the Vatican. Okay. Why do you think it's the Vatican? I mean, the Vatican is absolutely a super powerful organization, all that bullshit. But who does the Vatican refuse to talk about? Like, look at the Pope. The only time you've heard the Pope condemn the Israel-Palestine bullshit is after October 7th, when the Pope was condemning the poor attacks of October 7th. Like, come on. That's just bullshit. That's just a big bunch of theater bullshit with all their out in the open rituals and their goofy dress and oh, the white smoke, and it's all fucking stupid. By the way, the Chinese ran gas and brine, but gas piping underground using bamboo from as early as 500 BC. But the Europeans didn't figure it out. That same tech for another 1800 years. Like, it's fucking stupid. More than that. No, sorry, 2,300 years. Okay. No, 2,500 years. No, it'd be about 2,300 because I'm thinking about right now. So yeah, about 2,300 years. It took about 2,300 years for the idea of using gas to light and heat the homes being run through underground pipes made it to Europe. And then, thankfully, the Jays got involved. Look me up. Can't show that too much because, other people can have review channels and that's okay, but not me. Because you rethink so late you take offense to him and you have no idea that I'm referring to things that you're saying. I have no idea what you're even talking about. Also, that victim narrative you're speaking of applies to not me situation from your point of view. That narrative, that victim narrative you're saying, you have literally been preaching on here for months using that same victim mentality. Your words are right, but look in the mirror, Zorro. Like, this is the best that you can. What are you even talking about? What victim mentality are we talking about? Who's making me the victim here? Gosh, it's so weird how, like, again, this guy's actually trying. This is the best that he can come up with. He can come up with when trying to, I guess, talk about what I'm getting wrong, but he's on my side and I should be the victim narrative. And what the fuck are you even talking about, you doofus? Bro, all I do is point out what you're doing here. We go, all I'm pointing out is what you're doing. See, if you could actually understood what punctuation is, you'd realize how stupid you sound by not using it. All I do is, bro, all I do is point out what you're doing. Here we go once again, calling the kettle black. Everything you're saying, it's almost like you're talking about yourself. What? What? Yep, I'm talking about myself because you're coming at me with factual information about things, and I'm trying to talk about you. I mean, it's just so stupid. It's just stupid. This is what they do, man. Instead of picking any individual thing that I'm getting wrong, they do this kind of shit. And to think like this isn't this person's first time here. This is multiple times they've been here doing similar shit where it's just like, dude, do you not understand what the point here is? You're supposed to focus on the things that I'm saying. Make reasonable arguments. You said this, and you're wrong because of this. Like, it's just so stupid. No, it's arrogance. No, I mean, it's arrogance. You don't know what you're talking about. What the fuck are you even talking about? What's the answer then? What's the situation? What's the answer and what's the situation? Zorro. Gotcha. I know, because, I have the same name as somebody else did. Isn't that crazy? Nobody else has the same name as somebody else. That's so weird. So stupid. Lost in space as well. You could say that too. The answer is always the same. The Goyim need to unite and overthrow the friars that control the narrative. But your average Goyim has to be willing to be wrong before any of that can happen. And this is that bridge that's can't figure out how to cross. How do we even make the fucking bridge? I can't understand what's going on with people. Like, I can't understand being a Christian, right? And you have prayed to your God so many times and it's let you down. It didn't work out. Whatever you prayed about didn't happen. Every once in a while, something sort of similar will happen if your prayer is vague enough or whatever it is. Then it'll have an illusion, a slight illusion of connection, and you go with it. But when you compare the two, your God has let you down way more times than it hasn't. And yet you still believe it. It's such a strange thing. Like, you wouldn't accept that in any other case, right? Like, if you went to work and every week, your boss paid you like one out of every 100 weeks, you know, but always promised you, don't worry, you got a really big paycheck coming. As soon as you die, man, is your paycheck going to be huge. But you wouldn't take it. If your boss wasn't paying you, you wouldn't go in. You might tough it out for like a week or two and like stand by that person, but you have your own shit to deal with. You can't pay your bills with excuses to your landlord or whatever. Yeah, my boss said he's gonna pay me. I've been working there for 5 weeks. Your landlord's gonna listen to that once. Christianity doesn't get better until you die. Right. You have to die to get that key though. Man, the party is going to be amazing for you, really. It's all the big payoff for Christianity is so much better than you can even imagine. Those fucking dumb Muslims and their 72 virgins. Nah, nah, we got 73. But like it's just to have that mentality that I trust this thing that promises me I'll know once I die. That's so fucking weird. It's so weird. Why would you accept that shit? Especially when you know that, like, you know, one of the biggest pedophile organizations in the world is the church. And it's been that way forever. It's designed to be that way. You know, they want men who are willingly, purposefully not having sex with girls to live in a like dorm room poor situation where they wear dresses all day long. I mean, it's so strange. Who else are you going to recruit by saying, you can't get laid? Override that biological, God-given natural instinct to procreate. You got to override that shit, and then you can be a part of the club. Who would want that? And why you would ever take your advice from a virgin who has never lived on their own, doesn't pay their own bills and shit, has such a lopsided, ridiculous perspective on the world and the way the world works. Just go pray about it. I know that when times get tough, I go and I just pray, and I pray and I pray. And when the cook makes the meal, I go and I eat it. And but then I go back to praying again, and I make it just like it's, yeah, of course, because you have a fucking system around you. Oh, here we go. Popes were many kings and promised to rule over people before going down to just one pope at that time. That religion was pretty corrupt. I mean, again, this is just someone who believes the narrative. Oh, remember that's what gave birth to Protestants, which I would like to think of true faith, not all, but there is out there with good intent. What? Again, the lack of punctuation, it just makes your nonsense come off as crazy rambling. It always wasn't like that. At one time, priests had wives hundreds of years ago. It's so strange to me that you guys just can't seem to like wrap your heads around it. What you think of as hundreds of years ago is a lie. It's just not true. And that's the part where your arrogance comes into play. Not mine. I don't believe it. So there's no arrogance there. I just don't believe it. There's not enough evidence to support the narrative. And more importantly, there's a lot more evidence to support the narrative that we're being lied to. But, the Tartaria aspect rears its head again. I mean, if you, it doesn't take much. Go look up oldest photographs of cities. And look at all the photos of these huge cityscapes with these fucking amazing buildings everywhere you can see and no people. The dirt is all smeared, is all cleared and smooth and waiting for the people to show up. waiting for the orphan trains to show up. But you know, when you start thinking about shit like Star Forts, why do I always think, is it Fort Frederick? No, it's not. Why do I always think it's Fort Frederick, but it's not? The one off the Florida coast. The largest brick structure in the fucking United States or some shit like that. Like, just crazy. When you start looking at the history that we're given, it just, to me, the Chat GPT narrative makes the most sense. Victim narrative, that you have your point of view as it applies to thee, not me. What the fuck are you talking? You sound like a victim here. You sound like I'm victimizing you and you're crying about it. That's I don't know who, I don't know what your definition of victim narrative is, but you seem to be crying. Same victim mentality you were talking about 10 minutes ago. Here we go again. Can't actually point it out though, right? I think it was like the Roman times. Right. Because again, you believe a narrative. Because I'm using the speaking type. Can you call me so many names over the past 6 months? I'm going to give you the respect to type. What? So you're being lazy. It's making you sound dumb. So you're going to continue to do it because that's going to show me. Like, seriously. This is you're on too hard a level right now. Your character hasn't built their stats up yet enough. You're not ready for this final boss kind of shit, man. You just look stupid right now. Your whole narrative, it applies to thee, not me. Yes, my whole narrative. Oh, we have the dumb friar back. Fucking disgusting pedophile. Partly half the thing that you're saying is true. I don't call you wrong, but when you get mad, you start. I'm super mad. You start calling people slurs, anti-Semitic. I'm not talking bad about the Palestinians. Names assuming they're a certain religion. Anything that you. Like, this is, again, listen to this victim mentality here. Listen to how I'm victimizing this guy. He's so upset right now. I'm doing this and I'm doing that to him. That victim mentality. Any forts built in the shape of a star were designed like that to repel cannonballs. Very difficult to get. Yes, they were designed like that to repel cannonballs. Big giant star forts. Yep, they make sense. Like, it's just it's like silly. You just believe what you want to believe because it fits the narrative you want to believe. And you ignore simple things that destroy your narrative, like logistics, to maintain your perspective. The idea of pre-power tool civilization, pre-shipping companies, just pre all of it, people building monumental structures that still stand today, it's a joke. It's a joke. You should be laughing. That's why they put the same fire narrative in all of those stories. You get on here calling. Oh, here we go. Here comes more victim mentality. You get on here calling people arrogant, flip it around like someone's calling you arrogant when no one has called you a single name. Oh. That victim mentality, boy. You said a word I didn't like. You called me arrogant. And since I'm not smart enough to debunk what you're saying, I get mad about it. What if someone called you arrogant? Well, then I would clearly explain to them that It's not arrogance, it's confidence. Arrogance would be me believing something when I have no business believing it. Like I'm some dumbass troll who hasn't done any sort of research into anything, and yet I sit here and spout off like I know what I'm saying when it comes to everything. But a more, an easier example for you to understand was, let's just say every single day I filmed myself for 2-3 hours practicing basketball, dribbling, shooting. You guys watched me for the last, depending on how long you've been here, 10 years. You've watched me play basketball almost every single day. Just work on my drills, get better, get better, get better. And then I got on here and said, man, I'm fucking great at basketball. I don't think anybody watching me can beat me. I think I could compete on the highest levels. Well, that wouldn't be arrogance. That would be confidence because I put the work in. Now, if you are your dumbass and you're sitting there watching me do this every day for 10 years, while you're sitting on your fat ass in your fucking basement doing whatever you do, for you to think that you could just get up and give me a game, maybe because I played basketball in middle school, I was on the team. To think that you could give me a game, that would be arrogance. That would be you foolishly thinking you could give me a game when your fat ass couldn't run up and down the court 2-3 times. Now, if I was that guy, the basketball guy, and I said, look at how I play basketball so well. I'm the best accountant there is. I'm the best zookeeper there is. I'm the best hairstylist there is. I'm the best engineer there is. We could keep going. I don't know how many more examples you need. But if I were to say, because I play basketball every day, that makes me the best at all these other things, again, that would be arrogance. But to assume that I'm great at basketball because I'm great at basketball is confidence, is ego that everyone should have. A good, strong ego. You should know what you do well and not back down to people, especially ignorant, foolish people who haven't put in nearly as much effort as you have. What? And you see this, it's, apply it here. You literally have a crybaby on here saying that I have a victim mentality for calling out the way the world works, and then crying because I point out what they're saying. I directly answer questions and assertions and claims and I don't back down. I'm not afraid of anything they have to say, and what I say, I believe, at least makes sense. It stays on topic and makes sense. These clowns, they can't understand the concept of the arrogance that I'm talking about because they're so low level. I always look at it like a video game, man. Or even, sport. You could go sport. Like, these are amateur, starting out in the amateur boxers. They've had a few good workouts. They finally learned how to throw a proper cross. They start to, smell their own shit a little bit. So they think they can step in the ring with a prime Mike Tyson? No. They're going to get mopped. And you see it consistently, time and time again. These fucking clowns come through and just get mopped. And you're like, why would you even contribute? Because all you're doing is making your side look that much worse. But this is just, when the other side is inbred friar nonsense, this is what you get. And people just don't seem to understand. Like, arrogance, the arrogance I'm talking about is not some, dumbass like I just gave you that example. The arrogance I'm talking about is the person that walks around thinking, calling themselves a Christian, and they don't know why. You ask them, why do you think Christianity is correct and Islam isn't? What have you personally experienced to make you specifically think, Jesus, God, Christianity, whatever sect, whatever dumb belief version you believe in, that's the truth. And all of the rest of the religions, the cults out there, are as dumb to you as I think Christianity is. You think all the other ones are dumb. So why do you think yours is correct? And not a single one of them can ever answer you. Not even, they can't even provide like a snippet of an answer. It's really weird. Said that Jays put their baby circumcision skin in their mouth, but that's just because you choose to follow a religion. That's not what I said. What a dumbass. Like the fact is, this dumbass has been here so long that they know the argument. They're just trying, because they're guilty of it, they're trying to avoid what's being said. And the truth is, the Matitza Bapeh is they do the circumcision and then they suck on it. Oral suction is Matitza Bapeh. But that's, again, can you imagine trying to play it off like that's not a big deal? Nobody takes offense to anything you're saying. You just want me to because I bother you so much. Because I affect you so much that you'll literally set alarms and won't do or watch anything else. If I'm live, you're watching me. There's nothing else going on that you're even paying attention to. You put your entire life on hold to watch me for as long as I want you to. That's one-sided. That's definitely not. It doesn't go both ways. I know a lot of what you do does, but that doesn't. You agree the friars are smart, right? Not at all. I think they're some of the dumbest inbred fucking morons in the world, actually. Consider Einstein. There's nothing to consider there. Dude worked in a patent office. I mean, how much of his narrative is even real? I don't know. For all we know, they just gave us a character. They gave us this goofy, eccentric character and said, all right, you're going to be the Einstein. We're going to let you get the credit for this, this, and this. So, no, I don't believe that. And don't forget, I am one of those that come here and you call me so many names one day that I got your video shut down. Yep. I called you names and that's what got my video shut down because you're so important. The arrogance, I'm telling you. Admit Jays are smart, and by extension Israel. Why? What's smart? They're ruthless. They're heartless. They're compassionless. Their ability to be as supremacist as they are is what allows them their position. Because everyone else isn't capable of doing that. The Goyim, I don't care how much I hate my neighbor. If I come home from somewhere and it's raining outside and the kid is sitting there, on the porch banging on the door or just sitting there, whatever, and there's clearly no one home, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I hate your father, so you're going to suffer too, kid. I'm going to be like, hey, dude, you want to come in and chill out, dry off, get something to eat, whatever? Like, you all right? You need to make a phone call? Like, I'm not going to let some kid suffer. It's just not how I'm wired. And I think most Goyim aren't wired like that, or are wired the same way as me, at least in that regard. We're not the type of people that can commit genocide and just be okay with it. We're not the type of people that we get into a bus, the bus stops in a neighborhood, and we run out fighting over each other to make claims to other people's houses. All their stuff is still in the house, food's still in the fridge. and you're going to go claim their house. That's my house now. I think most people would feel pretty shitty about doing that. Stand up to bullies. Oh, Jesus. You respect true Christians. Why? Why would you respect anybody that believes in such ridiculous friar control scheme nonsense? Because the reality is, they're called the Abrahamic religions for a reason. Christianity, Islam, and Judaism are the Abrahamic religions. Abraham being the father of which one again? Which one is Abraham the father of? Okay, so when you look at it, Islam talks about how amazing Jesus is. The Bible talks about how amazing the friars are. Judaism talks about how amazing the friars are. Do you not see that there's something else going on there? Cain and Abel, what a dumb story. What a dumb fucking story. American churches do not house homeless people. I have been here 10 years and it is still around. Oh, look, there's Mackenzie. The Mackenzie profile is acknowledging that they've been stalking me for 10 years. This is a pedophile, mind you. The Mackenzie profile belongs to a pedophile. And yet, they're telling you, like, I've been here 10 years. How many profiles do you think you've made over the years because you've been blocked for being a fucking pedo? Can you imagine obsessing over someone for 10 fucking plus years? That's just strange. It's not even like I'm famous or something. I'm just some guy on fucking social media, and this person obsesses over me for, admittedly, for over 10 years. Can any of you say that you do that about anything else, anyone else? Can you say that you obsess over anyone else like that? You make fake profiles just to watch that person every day, begging for their attention. You know, calling their wife, texting their wife, calling. These people, if you show too much support for me, they'll figure out who you are and start calling you and your family members, harassing your mother, your grandparent, harassing your family for you watching me. Does that sound reasonable to you? Does that sound like something that normal people experience? Send your address. Yes, they send things to my address all the time. And leave it up to the person who's the admitted friar to not under. What do you mean he's stalking you? Oh, stalking you for 10 years. What does that mean? If you don't want the relationship with someone and they insist on it to the point where they obsess over you, they literally, reach out to your significant other, they send stuff to you, they swat you, they do all kinds of shit. You don't think that's that and it's all because I think we should kill pedos. And I think we should overthrow Israel and the Friar Connection. Then block them. Oh, that's it. And all this time I haven't figured out how to block them yet. That makes sense. You got it figured out. Leave it up to the dumb friar to not understand what it is to begin with, to come up with stupidity as the response. It's just stupid. It's fucking ridiculous, man. You guys are such clowns. The desperation it takes to you know, to be who you are. When at the end of the day, the feed is about killing pedos and overthrowing the friars. Who is going to have that much, time, that much energy, that much care? You care about that? Think about it. Of all the people in the world, it's not like somebody else will go live and they'll leave this feed to go watch that other person. No matter what time of day I go live, no matter what day it is, no matter what platform I'm on, they're here because I'm wrong, right? That's how that works. That's what normal people do, don't you? Right? It's if I was wrong, it wouldn't be this way. If I was wrong, there wouldn't be any worry. There wouldn't be this need to do this. It's the fact that I'm right about this shit to the point where the efforts that they usually put in, which is the gaslighting and the gang stalking and all that shit, it doesn't work. It actually works against them. It works to my advantage. Let them come on here and out themselves. Let them come on here and this is all just talk. At the end of the day, it's all just for entertainment purposes only. I'm wrong about everything I'm saying, and these are all just crazy conspiracy theories. To think that any of you, if you're not finding some sort of kindred spirit, some sort of thing that you support, that you would instead be so obsessed with me that you would spend so much of your life here, is just shocking. And the reality is, I've provided you with the receipts. Just look it up. Just look up Team Jorge. In the description, you'll see a link to the Team Jorge wiki article. Go look up the act.il link. All of these things are the proof that I've been saying the whole time is true. Go look up the Secure Community Network. Most of you just don't realize, you just assume it's conspiracy theory. You don't even know why you do. If I ask you, why do you think I hate them so much? You just hate the J so much. Okay, well, why do you think that is? What do you think the reason is? Or do you not go that far? You just make the claim for no reason. What would be my reason to hate anything? Let's look this up, though. You guys will find this. Well, what you will. Secure Community Network. Wiki. I want to look up the wiki, so we just have the Israel-controlled narrative. The Israel-controlled truth. So the Secure Community Network, okay. You didn't give us sources. I have one source, man. I might.
Morning, baby.
Morning, Stinklepuss. Your mom.
Hey.
That's what's up. Morning. Yeah. Hold this for a second, man.
Say hi to Eek. Hello. My name is Eek.
I don't know what you guys were talking about. I was deep in conversation with somebody, so. What is it, Eek? The wind's blowing. How y'all doing? It is cold outside. It's feeling like winter's coming. Like we're gonna have snow soon. She's listening intently. She hears her daddy downstairs. What's dad doing? Little daddy's girl. Oh, she's so cute. Northern elf. I don't know what that is. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, we lost you. Where'd you go? There you went. There you went. Hello, little girl. She's very cute. She's loafing. Because it's cold. Ice in the ground in Maine. Oh, fuck. Oh, you guys can keep it. Maine and Massachusetts and no, Connecticut. You guys can keep it all. I don't anymore. I want to be done with the sub-zero weather. You know, the snow isn't so bad if it's not fucking below zero. If it's like 32, get some nice soft snow. There's not like so much wind you can't even walk out there without closing your eyes. And it's Christmas time. Then it's great. Christmas, New Year's over. It could all go away. But yeah, the UP got hammered here too. They got a lot of snow. It's fucking cold up there. Snow is good insulation. I totally agree. We've made our little kid igloo forts, and they were quite cozy. But nothing's cozy in below zero, so fuck that shit. Fuck that shit.
Fuck them.
He's got ice in Maine already, or she, I don't know.
Shim.
Fuck that.
Shim shim. Shim shimalim bim 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 shim shim balim.
Yes, RUP's hammered right now too.
It's coming. It's just what it is.
Yeah, no, you can feel it. Today you can definitely feel it.
Yeah. Okay, so the Secure Community Network. I've read this before, but it's worth reading over and over again. The Secure Community Network, SCN, is a friar security organization in North America. It works with hundreds of synagogues to provide safety, guidance, and threat intelligence. SCN liaises with, with law enforcement and other organizations to provide best practices for friar communal security. To provide best practices. To provide best practices. Gee, I wonder who wrote this. You got to provide best practices. Is that how people talk?
Yes.
There's a funny interview, if you can remember, back to, I don't know, like 8 months into COVID. The narrative is blood transfusions. And they're flat out saying that the friar communities have been just donating antibody blood in droves. More than half of the blood, 90% of the blood that had been donated that had COVID and kicked it and now had the antibodies was from the friar community. And I'm going, what? What do you mean? Like, first of all, if they all overcame it with all of their, communal health issues that you just hear about left and right, then everybody should be able to overcome it. But when did they get hit super hard and then have the recovery and then have the blood donation? When was all that? When did all that take place? We haven't begun to even talk about anybody having any sort of cure. This isn't curable. This is going to kill you. And now you're telling me I have to go get friar blood put in my body? Friars who typically don't fucking give blood? Don't you think that's a weird narrative that you suddenly heard out of just nowhere, that suddenly the friar community has been donating blood that we should all get put into our bodies? Do you not realize how fucking strange that is? But they had this one redneck guy, fat white redneck. Hey, my name's Tony. I just live down in my little house. My mama, she was born in this house. My granddaddy built this house here. I'm just so happy to be here. Look at all the big shiny buildings. Yeehaw, my name's Tony. One of those kind of guys. And somehow the news organized a meeting, a Zoom FaceTime call between Fat Tony and the friar whose blood he receives. So how did they know which individual friar gave which individual blood sample? Isn't that all anonymous?
That's what I thought.
I had no idea that they knew where every single drop of blood came from in every single transfusion. If that was the case, wouldn't there be like a lot more prosecutions for people that have given bad blood before? But they have Fat Tony. I don't know what his name is, but he has this meeting with like this dude's name was like Hayom Bergstein, like as friar as it gets, and he is like, he looks like the caricature ugly. He is such an ugly faced human being. And of course he's got the little curly fries and shit. He's like, oh, hi. And the guy's like, hey, man, I'm just so grateful to you for everything that you've done for me. And the guy's like, yes, I am very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be here. Like he's speaking like he's a foreigner. He's born here. He speaks English. Like, why? Where does this accent come from? And the guy and Tony's like, we're just like brothers from another mother, Oh man, it's just great. And he's like, yes. And he keeps looking off to the left, off, like somebody's there telling him to say whatever. Pretend like you give a shit. I guarantee I couldn't find that fucking interview. But I just remember thinking, man. So now they're the savior because their blood is the magic blood. Somehow these super sickly people are the ones that are going to save everybody. Here, let me run out and get me some friar blood. Doesn't that sound tempting?
It's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you knew that now. So now I'm talking about the Secure Community Network. And how, best practices for blah, blah, blah. Okay, so listen. The Secure Community Network, SCN, created by the Friar Federation North America, JFNA, and the Conference of Presidents of Major American Friar Organizations in 2004, is a quasi-official umbrella security agency for the American friar community. It has the broadest mandate of any organization that specializes in providing security for friar facilities. What does the broadest mandate mean? What do you think that means? What do you think the stated definition is going to be? The broadest mandate. A broadest mandate can refer to a leader having a wide range of responsibilities, a politician claiming significant public support for their platform, or a central bank expanding its responsibilities beyond a single goal. The SCN replaced the Anti-Defamation League, the ADL, as the principal clearinghouse for friar security issues, though the ADL still trains law enforcement in identifying threats. The aftermath of the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting in 2018 included arguably the most ambitious and comprehensive effort led by the JFNA ever taken to protect friar life in the United States, according to the New York Times. In addition to bringing in $100 million in federal grants through the Nonprofit Security Grant Program, NGSP, JFNA raised $62 million to secure every friar community in North America overseen by the JFNA's SCN. By 2023, 93 friar federations had full-time security directors, a more than four-fold increase over the previous 5 years. SCN staff grew exponentially from 5 people in a small office in Chicago to a national organization with 75 employees stationed across the U.S. All to keep the friars safe. Not everybody, just them. SCN's analysts, many with backgrounds in military or private intelligence, monitoring the internet and social media for threats to prominent friars, synagogues, community centers, and schools. The SCN provides assistance to friar communities with hiring security directors, provides best practice materials, and gives security advice as needed. SCN is the friar community's primary point of contact with the federal government for homeland security issues, sets national standards, and assists small friar communities that lack capacity and resources. And major metropolitan areas with their own resources, such as New York City, Los Angeles, Cleveland, Detroit, and Boston, formed independent security initiatives like the New York-based Community Security Initiative that report directly to the local friar federation and partner with SCN. It's pretty crazy, right? It's pretty fucking crazy. Was it the JFN? Yeah, so the JFNA, the Friar Federations of North America, formerly the United Friar Communities, is an American friar umbrella organization for the Friar Federation system, representing over 350 independent friar communities across North America that raise and distribute over $2 billion annually, including through planned giving and endowment programs, to support social welfare, social services, and educational needs. For them, let's go with the Friar Federation. Let's see what this is. We never actually got here the other day. The Friar Federation, the JFED, JFED, I get it, is a secular friar nonprofit organization found within many metropolitan areas across the United States with a significant friar community. They provide supportive and human services, philanthropy, financial grants to refugees around the world, humanitarian and disaster relief,
host leadership conferences and fellowship opportunities for women and youth, charitable drives, help those in need navigate comprehensive resources, and provide outreach to at-risk friar populations in 70 countries worldwide and more. So, I mean, it sounds like it's not that big a deal, right? While the Friar Federation was created to primarily serve as friar communities, they also provide for other communities. Yeah, do they? Federations in North America operate an annual central campaign, then allocate the proceeds to affiliated local agencies. There are currently 146 friar federations. The national umbrella organization for the federations is the JFNA in the United States. This is the background. Starting at 60. See, the reason I like doing it this way, you know, like I know there are the Ian Carrolls that'll pick out all the good bits and then have them on the green screen behind them and point to things. And yeah, that's cool, but you really only get what they want you to get out of it. You know, maybe they miss something. Maybe they purposefully overlook something. This way, we're reading exactly what the narrative wants us to know. This is what Israel, this is how Israel wants us thinking. So let's read it start to finish and see what it says. And when we can figure it out for ourselves instead of just trusting the opinion of somebody like Ian Carroll that you have no idea where the fuck they came from. Or somebody like Nick Fuentes who you wouldn't want to be near. Nick Fuentes is a horrible, horrible human being. I wouldn't want anything to do with that guy. I appreciate what he does. You know, I appreciate the things he says and some of the work he does, but he's a piece of shit. And I hate that he's a representation for us. Because I'm definitely not some groyper. And I'm definitely not some dumb incel Catholic, you know, weirdo. Okay, starting in 1654, LOL. It literally says LOL. No, it doesn't, but it should. Because, you know, 1654, do you... The thing about you and I is that you accept 1654 as being this thing that we had good documentation of. You know, here we are, fucking 400 years later. All good. Would you want to know? It's fucking stupid. We literally, whenever you think, oh yeah, we know, that's, yeah, we know. Remember, the greatest achievement known to man, leaving this planet and going to a different celestial body, landing on said thing, jumping around like doofuses, and then taking off from there, rendezvousing with the ship, flying back to the Earth, and then surviving the re-entry, blah blah blah. The nuts and bolts, the meat and potatoes of it, the how, the telemetry data, how we did all of that, the 6 times we did it. The part where you actually show logistically how it was possible for us to do this thing that apparently we can't do today. Yeah. That big room full of data and information. Yeah, they lost it. Darndest thing, right? So Bill was in charge of the recording of this wedding, right? And he forgot to bring an extra tape. So he's all running around the facility looking for a tape. And he happens to find one and goes, "Oh, I'm sure this is just a blank tape." You know, I mean, that's how things happen on TV, so it must be real. And then so he ran and he put the tape in and you know, so you'll see like the tape starts with, "All right, this is how we are going to go to the moon. This is the telemetry data. This will answer any questions some dumbass like Guy Williams will have regarding." Hey, is it on? Is it on? Okay. I just wanted to say, bro, I can't believe you're marrying her. She's so beautiful. I always thought, her and I might get together and all, but no, you guys are beautiful. You know what? I can't do this. Okay. Cause that's how that works, right? They just taped over the shit. They just lost the proof of the most important achievement man has ever accomplished. The most incredible thing we've ever done. With technology said to rival today's best. And I'm talking like a 6 out of 10 calculator. You know, they were able to go to and fro with technology that rivaled today's best mediocre calculator. Do you believe that? Did we lose our comment section here? I don't know. It's been a while since we got some sort of dumbass comment. So there's a dog beyond where they can see. And yet they must have heard another dog, because I heard the other dog down the street.
Yes.
And he must have said something specific.
Oh, this one thinks he's a tough ass.
Right, something, because you can hear the dogs bark all the time and our dogs don't respond to it.
Mm-hmm. But sometimes they
Sometimes. Right. And then you look and there's that dog. There must have been something. There must have been some sort of communication, Fox and the Hound style, or no, the Dalmatian style. Remember the Dalmatians?
Now they see it. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there he is. You're right.
Yeah, he
does think he's tough shit.
He does. He's an asshole. Hey,
I'd like to see him come over here.
Hey, you guys down the way. What do you think?
He's coming. He's headed your way.
All right. In 1654, when the first friar communal settlement in New Amsterdam, modern-day New York, began, despite Governor Peter Stuyvesant's attempts to ban the first friar people in North America from the settlement until he would be overruled. Again, how did they survive? If they were constantly, even from the very first settlement, they were being persecuted, then how did they survive? And for the next 250 years, the friar community promised local governments they would not become a burden by taking care of their own community. You literally see that same narrative over and over again. That for some reason, they weren't wanted because they were thought of as a burden, and they would promise whoever it was that they wouldn't be a burden and that they would take care of their own. Literally, I can't tell you how many times I've seen that same narrative anytime you talk about them settling a new place. Why was there this common thread that they were such a burden? If they weren't those kinds of people, why was that the narrative regarding them? And how did that narrative get spread so easily around the whole fucking world? Especially when you consider the fact that they never seem to actually live up to that promise. They always become a huge burden. Throughout this period, as the friar community continued to grow in what would become the United States, they, quote, established synagogues, burial societies, credit unions, and Hebrew youth societies in dozens of cities before there was a single federation. Almost like they're colonizing, right? Almost like they're spreading, almost like they're doing what they promised not to do. What are burial societies? That should be blue, but it's not. A burial society is an organization, often a mutual or benefit society, that helps members cover funeral expenses through regular payments. These societies also often provide social support, assist with funeral arrangements, and may have a strong cultural or religious ties, such as the Friar Shirava Kadisha. Some societies are community-run and more cost-effective than traditional funeral insurance, while others may operate a for-profit business. So it just happens to be... Dude, are you serious right now? It just happens to be that I look up this random word and it's associated with them. Burial societies. Whereas a community, they cover their own, their own funeral expenses, but then make a living off of charging the rest of us. That sounds familiar. I mean, I always come back to my friend who worked at the dentist's office. And she said that when the friars would come in, the friar dentist office, that they would get the work done. They would pay. The dentist would then send the bill to a 3 or 4, maybe it was the JFN or whatever. It was some sort of 3-letter organization, the ADL, the JFN, something like that. She couldn't quite remember what it was, or maybe I just don't remember. But the dentist would send it to the organization at 70% the normal cost of whatever the work was. The organization would pay for it, and that would be that. So the average friar is getting free dental care paid for by taxpayers, because that organization that pays for it is paid for with taxpayer grants and funds and all that shit. How many of you goyim could use some free dental work? How many of you goyim could use some dental work at 70% what you're being charged for it? Just that in itself. I mean, if anything, you would think like the organization, you'd charge them more. It's like if you have a government contract with something. What was your friend's thing again?
Huh.
With the government contract and the pencils?
Oh, she had a government contract to supply art supplies.
No, she was doing something, and
to get art supplies. That's what it was. They gave her
right.
money.
She had a contract to do something for the government, and then part of that was she needed supplies to do the thing. So
they allocated money for it, and she didn't need it all. And they were like, "No, you."
No, it was like $26,000.
Oh yeah, it was insane.
No, what was it though? It was like she was surprised because they sent her an itemized list or something like that, and it showed that they were charging, or they were allocating like $26,000 per person per supply or something. Like it was something crazy, and she was shocked by it, but of course she took it.
Well, I mean, what she did was...
What else could she do?
Well...
She couldn't just turn down the money.
What she did was she bought supplies and used it for underprivileged people that didn't have access to supplies. Like, she did good with it.
Whatever. They don't care. It's not their money. That doesn't come out of the pockets of anyone else. Like, they all get paid an excess amount of money.
Well,
And then they
she
have
could
these.
have been shit and kept the money, but she.
But they have this money that's set aside for things like that. They know even if they don't spend that money, it just stays in the little coffer. So they're not going to get access to it no matter what. So they don't care how it's spent. If they could get access to it, you better believe it would be a lot less. According to historian Donald Feldstein, the Friar Federation, the first 500 years, there is no single source where one can find a comprehensive history of the Friar Federation in North America. The first Friar Federation in the United States was founded in Boston in 1895. Go figure. A year after the World Zionist Conference, the first World Zionist Conference. Isn't that interesting? Another organization in Cincinnati, Ohio. And within several years, federations sprung up around the country wherever there was significant friar communities. The founding philosophies of the first friar federations in America were based in secularism, but deeply influenced by friar tradition, like Hasid, loving kindness, and organized like the Kahila, a communal organization found in diverse regions throughout Eastern Europe at the time, created to meet the welfare needs of friar communities in an inclusive and comprehensive way. However, unlike Kahila, which were usually formed under the authority of a local government to collect taxes from the friar community to support the services, the Friar Federation in the United States has always been fully autonomous. I mean, they're instead of being taxes collected from them, they collect from the taxes that are collected. History. The first Friar Federation was founded in Boston in 1895 as Associated Friar Philanthropies. Cincinnati formed its federation, United Friar Social Agencies, the next year. Isn't it strange how this works? Like, these random things just pop up, and now today they're all part of this huge organization of the world dominant, like, it's all just such bullshit, especially when you're told at the same time these are the most persecuted people in the world. And it's all the same time frame. Like, shit really starts kicking off mid 1880s, 1890s, and then it's just from there on it's like it seems like it's manufactured. I mean, understand, the Helen Keller narrative has been debunked since like 51, I think we saw, right?
Yeah.
Was it 51 or 61? One of the two.
That's why they don't spend a lot of time teaching this shit anymore.
That's not true. Because, like I say, if it was
a big thing anymore.
I know, but it was debunked in 51 or 61. And our generation had it. But we had no way of knowing that it was debunked. You couldn't just go look it up on your phone and figure out it was debunked. And we were told implicitly that it was true. I remember making jokes like, there's no way this is true. She's blind, deaf, and dumb. How did she write a book? And the teacher would get mad. And it's just, you have to be smarter than this. By the way, if you're saying stuff to me, the comment section got shut off a while ago. So I'm sorry I'm not responding, but it is what it is. But I mean, it's you know, if they knowingly pushed a lie in schools as a, you know, a part of the evidence of the truth of the Holocaust narrative, and you know, if they were knowingly pushing this lie for such a long time, why do we accept anything they have to say? Why would you think any of it's true? Oh, holy shit, we do. The comments are working. It's just people, I guess, just got sick of getting looking stupid. I don't know. That's weird. Yes. Still here. Chicago founded its federation in 1900, followed by St. Louis. Federations were soon formed in many other cities with large friar populations. Initially, 1895 to 1845, the federation system was focused on welfare needs of individual friars with the goal of integrating them into the United States. The friar federations inspired the 1913 formation of the forerunner of the United Way, the Community Chest in Cleveland, Ohio. In 1932, an umbrella organization, gotta love that 1932-33 window, for the federations was formed called the National Council of Friar Federations and Welfare Funds. Think about how crazy that is, man. They have, you know, like think about the negative connotation associated with welfare, right? With being on the welfare. And then when the Democrats was in office, well, I was on the welfare. Who knows the quote? Come on. Who knows it? I was on the welfare, and then from 54 to 56, I was on the welfare. The United Friar Appeal, UJA, national campaign and organization was started in 1939 with the foundation of the Israel state in 1948. The UJA increased in importance until the 1960s with the start of Medicaid and Medicare. Federations allocated large portions of the campaign funds to friar hospitals. Wouldn't it be nice to be that? Like, think about that. Not have to worry about getting sick or hurt or anything like that. Knowing that if you're not, you know, feeling up to it, you're going to still live a great life because you get part of this organization that's just going to funnel money into your account. No fear of loss. No worry. I mean, that creates a confidence that most of us just don't have. It's a lot easier to succeed in the world when your worries are taken, right? Each federation is autonomous from federations of other cities, and they tend to focus on local concerns. The federations typically elected boards or trustees that are accountable to the community, paid staff, and volunteer leadership. Originally, the federations operated on volunteer basis only, but quickly turned to professional staffs. They engage in centralized planning for the needs of the local community and may provide centralized administrative services for their constituent agencies. Depending on the size of the community, the federation may provide services directly or fund another agency to provide that function. For example, the federation may have a local as an arm or function if not provided by a separate federation-funded agency. For example, the Federation may have a local as an arm or function, if not provided by a separate Federation-funded agency.
A local what? Ambulance service or?
I have no idea. What's up, dude? The lag is bad. Nothing I can do about it. It is what it is, Matthew. Federations raise money for central local campaigns that support the organizations of the entire local friar community. Historically, with a number of friar institutions running their own fundraising campaigns, friar communities' leadership felt it could be more efficient to instead have a single campaign that could centralize gift making. What are we talking about? Because I don't know about.
Grab that. Sometimes I put it out.
Huh?
Grab that and shove it in your bowl.
I can't. Yeah, it's too full. It's the fuck I was gonna say. Oh, where does this money come from? Like you say it's fundraising shit, but what do you mean? Like I don't remember any fundraising activities, give the Jays your money. Like what fundraising activities are we talking about here? Between 30 and 50% of friar households in the United States typically contribute to their local federation. So you're saying the people are just donating their money? That doesn't sound believable. JFEDs also raise money for the National United Friar Appeal campaign that sends funding overseas and may combine the Federation Annual and United Friar Appeal into one campaign. See,
United Fellowship of Christians and Jews.
That's something different.
Bullshit.
That's something different. It's the same thing, but it's something different.
It's an extended arm.
Yeah, definitely. It's just another it's another aspect of it, but that's something different. This is federal. Like this shit is all federally funded. And even though they're saying it all comes from local, it's not. They get federal grants and shit. But see, now we have to believe. So are we saying these friar communities?
Disguised as helping everybody, it's not.
These friar communities, each individual between 30 and 50% of the people make enough money that they can donate enough to not only fund their community, but also send it over to Israel too. Like, that's an insane amount of money. Where's all this money coming from? It's like you either 30 to 50%. So half of the people are giving the money, and then the other half are receiving it. I mean, it's fucking silly. Back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
The Federations or the Federation system may hold specific campaigns in addition to the annual campaign. Federation spending and efforts have adapted as the needs for particular social services have changed. For example, from friar orphanage work in the early 20th century to retirement homes in the late 20th century. Right? Because all those orphans, we don't want to talk about where the fuck they came from. And now we have to take care of the old people. A significant feature of the annual Federation campaign is Super Sunday, a day designated for community-wide phone banking, seeking contributions from members of the community.
Mm-hmm.
Just hitting them up. Hey, you want to give us some money? Just seems silly because that sure does defy the stereotype, don't you think?
No,
Like that's the
for
last
their
people
own.
you're gonna call to give some money.
Not if it's for their own.
Imagine if you were in charge of some sort of fundraising event and you got your call sheet and it was like
and bat mitzvahs. They
right.
give their asses off to each other.
Yeah, I wonder how that actually works. Like I wonder how much of that is sort of like laundering and just I don't know. It's weird. because of the way they all incorporate and they have the write-offs and all that. Like it's different. It's not just what you think it is. Uh, More than half of all funds raised by federations are earmarked for various local friar social service agencies, with the largest single allocation to friar education typically constituting 25%. Can you imagine that?
No.
If 25% of the money that was raised in our system was spent on education, that would be so nice.
Sure would have a whole lot more doctors and lawyers. Oh, wait.
Yeah, can't have that. After education, friar community centers, the local friar family and child services, homes for the aged, and campus halals are the next largest recipients of financial support. In some communities where the Friar Federation does not provide the service, a friar vocational service agency is usually funded to provide job-related services. As an example, in 2008, the Overnight Camp Incentive Program provided grant money to 18 campers to attend Pinemere Camp. The program is a joint project of the Friar Federation of Greater Philadelphia, the Foundation for Friar Camp, and the Neubauer Family Foundation. The program provided grants of $750 to $1,250. The majority of the Pinemere campers who received grants chose to return the following summer. It's crazy. It's just crazy. The reality is, we don't know any of this shit. We don't know how much of any of this is true.
Well, that's the thing. You don't know.
You just have to go with what they want you to know.
Which isn't the truth.
No.
So, yeah.
But to me, it's really interesting to see. Okay, so, that's what the point of doing it this way is to not, it's not about some conspiracy theory. It's not about, some opinion or anything. I want to read you guys the reality that you're supposed to live under. You can't, especially all of you round earthers and shit. Everything I'm reading you is the truth that they want you to know. So you can't deny it in that regard. So when we're looking at the truth that they want us to know and it doesn't make sense, or it points to something more than what you're told to think, like that's where the real power lies. It's not in, oh, Alex Jones has a source that says this. Well, who's the source? Well, we don't know. This is the official narrative. The official narrative is telling you the truth. You just have to see it. And it's not like it's really difficult, It's one of those things where you would think, it's hidden. It's a well done conspiracy that only the sharpest minds are gonna see. The little tiny detail. No, this shit's right there in front of your fucking face. It's to me, it's difficult to not believe it. So many times I'm reading something and I go into it naked, man. I don't know what the fuck it's gonna say. It could lay it out that I'm an idiot. Why would I have ever questioned this? It's so obvious it works this way. You're a stupid guy. That could easily be the narrative every single time. And every single time, it's not. Every single time we happen to come across something that just, what? How the fuck does that work? Every single time you get to the point where it makes that jump from like, oh, some guy was tinkering in his garage to now it's everywhere. And that middle person is a friar. 100% of the time, it's friars, 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 friars. You know, the narrative is, and it's always the same sort of narrative, written the same, structured the same. The person grew up in a poor situation where they somehow were still able to go to who knows where. Suddenly they have, you know, they have the ability to, they're just a doctor, they're just a lawyer, they're just a, you know, an engineer or whatever. They just somehow gain this skill, and they're you know, revolutionary in one way or another. And it's all the same. Clearly they're just introducing something one way or another. And they needed a character for it, so they put this character in that position. Oh yeah, they just invented this technology that never existed before. Think about it. Like, that doesn't exist anymore. Where are all the inventors changing the fucking world? I haven't seen much from Plastiline guy. His stuff hasn't been coming through my feed nearly as much lately. There you go. That's the cutest thing you'll ever see. Oh, she's so cute.
She is the cutest.
There's so much of what we're told and shown. It doesn't fit. Like, it's weird to me that people are so animated and invested in things that you have no reason to give a shit. Like it's cool to be interested in it, but to like, I'm gonna get mad about this. Why would you ever do that? You know, it's so much of it is just, it's dumb bullshit. And you should be insulted by the narrative you're given. The submarines thing. Do you think my wife ever wanted to agree with me, at least on the level that something isn't correct in what we're being told? Do you think she wanted to, when I first started saying, I don't think submarines are real, do you think she was like, yeah, sweetheart, that's a good idea. You should say that out loud? No, no, she wasn't. She was like, that's sweet. Keep that one to yourself. And I had no fucking idea that it would make people so mad. I had no idea there were so many
Totally does.
submarine enthusiasts, to the point where even ChatGPT is like, he's saying submarines aren't real, and people get upset about that. You know, I I I I came up with that title sort of in jest at first. When I realized what an effect it had on people, I went with it. But it was because I really did want to know, like, it just dawned on me that the concept of submarines doesn't make any sense. And when you allow yourself to just get past your programming and think about it from a common sense perspective, you'll see what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. You know, when you think about great big aircraft carriers, how much an aircraft carrier would have to weigh. Not just like one of those freighters, those giant freighters with all the storage containers on them. Think about the super aircraft carriers. Just how big those motherfuckers are. You know what? I want to look that one up. Let's look up aircraft carriers. Never thought about this one. The first aircraft carrier. Let's see what it says. An aircraft carrier is a warship that serves as a seagoing airbase, equipped with full-length flight deck and hangar facilities for supporting aiming, arming, deploying, and recovering shipborne aircraft. Typically, it is the capital ship of a fleet known as a carrier battle group, as it allows a naval force to project seaborne air power far from homeland without depending on local airfields for staging aircraft operations. Since their inception in the early 20th century, aircraft carriers have evolved from wooden vessels used to deploy individual tethered reconnaissance balloons to nuclear-powered supercarriers that carry dozens of freighters, strike aircraft, military helicopters, AEW, ANCs, and other types of aircraft such as UCAVs. While heavier fixed-wing aircraft such as airlifters, gunships, and bombers have been launched from aircraft carriers, these aircraft do not often land on a carrier due to flight deck limitations. Aircraft carriers, I don't give a fuck. I want to do the history, the origins. 1903, advent of the heavier-than-air fixed-wing plane with the Wright brothers' first flight at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, was followed on November 14th, 1910, by Eugene Burton Ely's first experimental takeoff of a Curtiss pusher airplane from the deck of a United States Navy ship. The cruiser USS Birmingham anchored off the Norfolk Navy base in Virginia. 2 months later, on January 18, 1911, Ely landed his Curtiss pusher plane on a platform on the armored cruiser USS Pennsylvania, anchored in the San Francisco Bay. Let me just look at the U.S. Pennsylvania. Tinted postcard of the USS Pennsylvania from around 1905 to 1908. So that was built. So someone built this. Let's see when this was built. The second USS Pennsylvania, also referred to as Armored Cruiser Number 4 and later renamed Pittsburgh, was a United States Navy armored cruiser and lead ship in her class. She was originally assigned the nickname Nebraska, but was renamed Pennsylvania on March 7th, 1901. It was ordered March 3rd, 1899, and awarded January 10th, 1901. Cost $3,890,000. Contract price of hull and machinery. What was $4 million in 1899? That's fucking nuts. Like, this is stuff that just to me is fascinating, because you just hear these narratives of these. Here's the construction. Here, this is going to be the real big, interesting construction. Pennsylvania was laid down on August 7, 1901, by William Cramp and Sons of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and launched on August 22nd, 1903, sponsored by Miss Coral Quay, 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 daughter of Senator Matthew S. Quay of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was commissioned on March 9th, 1905, with Captain Thomas C. McLean in command. That's it. Let's see. William Cramp and Sons. Here we go. Yeah, that guy. Because it's always that guy. Literally, it's always that guy. William Cramp and Sons Shipbuilding Company, also known as William Cramp and Sons Ship and Engine Building Company, was an American shipbuilding company based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, founded in 1830 by William Cramp. During its heyday in the late 19th century, it was the preeminent American iron shipbuilder. William Cramp was born in Kensington, District of Pennsylvania, or in Kensington District of Philadelphia in 1807. In 1855, it's a big jump, his son Charles Henry, born 1828, and William C. became partners with their father. In 1872, his other sons, Samuel H., Jacob C., and Theodore, were taken into the firm. The company was incorporated under the name the William Cramp and Sons Iron Shipbuilding and Engineering Company. The pilot boat, Thomas Howard, was built by the Cramp Shipyard in 1870 for the Delaware Bay River pilots. She was one of the Philadelphia port's fastest pilot vessels. Let's see, Thomas Howard. Oh, yeah, there you go. There you go. Thomas Howard was the 19th century pilot boat built by William Cramp and Sons in 1870. They had photography in 1870. You're telling me nobody thought to take a picture of this shit? The only thing we have is this goofy painting that's not even very good. It's not a very good painting. She was the finest and fastest pilot boat belonging to the Philadelphia port. In 1886, the Pilots Association for the state of Delaware declared that the Thomas Howard become a Delaware pilot boat. Thomas Howard was a pilot boat schooner built in 1870 at the William Cramp and Sons Shipyard in Philadelphia for the Pilots Association. She was made from a builder's half model and plans that show a pilot schooner with a straight keel. From the builder's half model and plans that show a pilot schooner with a straight keel? What the fuck does that mean? Oh, is that because there are literally no blueprints to explain how they got this ship made? There's no blueprints. There's no, design specifications. There's nothing like that. Just a half a model. We'll get back to that in a minute. I just want to read the rest of this. The Thomas Howard had a long career in the pilot boat service. Pilot James A. Orton in 1880 kept a journal of the daily life aboard the Thomas Howard. On November 21st, 1880, the Thomas Howard gave chase to a steamer but lost her to the rival pilot boat Thomas F. Bayard. Lost her? They lost her. So the other ship got her? I don't know. The Thomas Howard was registered as a pilot schooner with the record of American and foreign shipping from 1881 to 1907. Her ship owners were Philadelphia pilots. Built in 1870 at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and her hailing port was the Port of Philadelphia. Her dimensions were 79.2 feet in length, 20.6 feet breadth of beams, 7.6 depth of hold, and 51 tons tonnage. The sail number 1 was painted in black on her mainsail to distinguish her from other pilot boats. So, who was making all these other boats then? There was competition and rivalry between Delaware and Philadelphia pilots. On June 22nd, 1886, the pilot commissioners of the state of Delaware declared that the pilot boat Thomas Howard become the Delaware pilot boat, which before worked under the Philadelphia laws and under the immediate authority of the Philadelphia Board of Port Wardens. Seems really weird. Why would that be a thing? Why would it matter? 16 Pennsylvania pilots. And see, this is the kind of shit they provide you when you go to look up the history of something, where it gives you a bunch of nonsense. It doesn't give you like a how it was designed and where it was built, how long it took to build, any of that shit. This is the goofy ass history they give you. It's stupid. 16 Pennsylvania pilots gave up their licenses and took out licensed Delaware pilots in order that they might receive the benefits of the Delaware laws, which had higher rates. The Delaware pilots and the pilot boats, blah, 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 blah. On July 13th, 1890, the Delaware pilot boat Thomas Howard towed into the Delaware breakwater the British steamer Andes, which was found floating about the ocean, having lost her propeller, which left her helpless. And they just found it, huh? Out in the middle of the ocean. There were so many people out there.
Well, you guys own that house, right?
End of service. On May 10th, 1897, the pilot boat Thomas Howard was sold for $1,400 to Fritz and Martin and was converted into a fishing boat. Do you guys see this? Like, what? What the fuck? Alright, so that was that boat. She was one of the Philadelphia port's fastest pilot boats. In 1890, the company built the battleship USS Indiana and the USS Massachusetts armored cruiser in New York and protected cruiser USS Columbia. All right, so let's see. USS Indiana. So they went from the goofy schooner with sails on it to this. Where did this come from? How did we figure this technology out? That's a pretty huge jump. It was 1870 when they built the schooner. So USS India was the lead ship of her class, first battleship in the United States Navy, comparable to foreign battleships of the time. So again, that means this technology was in Europe, and what were they building, and how long had they been building that? Authorized in 1890, so 20 years later, commissioned 5 years later. I don't understand when they start talking like this. Authorized in 1890 and commissioned 5 years later. What does that mean? The ship also pioneered. Authorized and commissioned 5 years later, she was a small battleship, though with heavy armor and ordnance. Authorized in 1890. The ship also pioneered the use of an intermediate battery. She was designed for coastal defense, and as a result, her decks were not safe from high waves out on the open ocean. Design. India served in the Spanish-American War in 1898. As part of the North Atlantic Squadron, she took part in both the blockade of San Diego, Cuba, and the Battle of San Diego, Cuba. which occurred when the Spanish fleet attempted to break through the blockade. Although unable to join the chase after the escaping Spanish cruisers, she was partly responsible for the destruction of Spanish destroyers Plurton and Fur. How did this ship get anywhere if it couldn't be out in the ocean? You had to get like really lucky that it got anywhere, right? Although unable to join the chase of the escaping Spanish cruisers, she was partly responsible. After the war, she quickly became obsolete despite several modernizations and spent most of her time in commission as a training ship or in the reserve fleet. With her last commission during World War I as a training ship for gun crews, she was decommissioned for the third and final time in January 1919 and was shortly after reclassified Coast Battleship Number 1 so that the name Indiana could be reused. She was sunk in shallow water as a target in aerial bombing tests in 1920, and her hull was sold for scrap in 1924 because we were just good at it. Imagine building that thing. Indiana was constructed from a modified version of a design drawn up by a U.S. Navy policy board in 1889 for a short-range battleship. The original design was part of an ambitious naval construction plan to build how many? 33 battleships and 167 smaller ships. Well, what does that equal? Exactly 200 ships. The United States Congress saw the plan as an attempt to end the U.S. policy of isolationism and did not approve it. But a year later, the United States House of Representatives approved funding for 3 coastal defense ships, which would become Indiana and her sister ships Massachusetts and Oregon. The coastal defense designation was reflected in Indiana's moderate endurance, relatively small displacement, and low freeboard, which limited seagoing capabilities. The ship proved to be disappointments. The ships proved to be disappointments in service, as they were badly overweight upon completion. Their low freeboard hampered operations at sea, and they handled poorly. Conway's All the World's Fighting Ships describes her design as attempting too much on a very limited displacement. They were nevertheless the first modern battleships for the American fleet, and they sucked. That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. And yet we just figured it out. And this is the design, right? I'm in the design part. Indiana was 351 feet, 2 inches long, and had an overall beam of 69 feet, 3 inches. I assume beam is width. And a draft of 24 feet, meaning the depth that goes down below. She displaced 10,288 long tons, which is like 200,000 pounds or something, well over 200,000 pounds, as designed, and up to 11,688 long tons at full load. The ship was powered by 2-shaft triple expansion steam engines rated at 9,000 indicated horsepower and 4 coal-fired fire tube boilers generating a top speed of 15 knots or 17 miles per hour. She had a cruising radius of 5,640 nautical miles or 6,490 miles at a speed of 10 knots or 12 miles per hour. As built, she was fitted with a heavy military mast, which was later supplemented by a stern cage mast in 1910 and 11. She had a crew of 32 officers and 441 enlisted men, which increased to a total of 586 to 636 officers and enlisted. The ship was armed with a main battery of 4 13-inch, 35-caliber, 2-gun turrets and a center line, one left to fire, the secondary battery. This isn't any design, though. This isn't how it was designed. According to Conway's, she was fitted with 6 tubes, though the naval historian Norman Friedman states she was ordered with 7, but completed with 5. So we don't know. Because again, there's no blueprints or anything. Indiana's main armored belt was 18 inches thick over the magazines and the machinery spaces. I mean, that's no design history. That's no how it worked. So that's that. That's the first U.S. battleship. The Massachusetts was this one. U.S. Massachusetts was an Indiana-class pre-dreadnought battleship, and the second U.S. Navy battleship comparable to foreign battleships of the time, authorized in 1890 and commissioned 6 years later. She was a small battleship, though with heavy armor and ordnance. The ship class also pioneered the use of an intermediate battery. She was designed for coastal defense. As a result, her decks were not safe from high waves on open ocean. Sounds like the same ship. Design was constructed from a modified version of a design drawn up by a policy board in 1889 for short-range battleship. The original design was part of an ambitious naval construction plan to build 33 battleships and 167 smaller ships. Hey, that's 200 ships. The United States Congress saw the plan as an attempt to end U.S. policy of isolationism, but did not approve. But a year later, approved funding through 3 coastal defense battleships for 3 coastal defense, which would later become Massachusetts, Indiana, and Oregon. The ships were limited to same fucking ship, man. Same fucking narrative. It's fucking silly. Okay, so the armored cruiser, the USS New Yorker. Ooh, that looks badass. That one's actually pretty sweet looking. Who built that? Think about this. This is what we were capable of building. Who is building this? This is before we had cars. Was the second United States Navy armored cruiser so designated. The first was the ill-fated Maine, which was soon redesignated a second-class battleship due to the unusually protracted construction of Maine. New York was actually the first armored cruiser to enter the U.S. Navy service, the 4th Navy ship to be named in the honor of the state of New York. She was later renamed Saratoga and the Rochester with 6 8-inch guns. She was the most heavily armed cruiser in the U.S. Navy when commissioned. Design and construction. She was laid down on September 19, 1990 by William Cramps of Philadelphia. Launched on December 10, 1991. 1891. Sorry, December 2nd. So a year later. And sponsored by Miss Helen Clifford Page. It's always the same shit. They were commissioned, they were laid down, they were commissioned, and then they were sponsored. They always have to be sponsored.
Most load officers don't know how to properly explain that for them, but you don't even have to pay attention to that. Because you're not going to stay in that load, is the point.
She's so wicked smart. She's not like me. She's definitely the adult in the relationship. Okay. Sponsored by Miss Helen Clifford Page, the daughter of J. Seaver Page, the secretary of the Union League Club of New York. I mean, think about that. Why is it always that? Sponsored by some important man that we like that. What a weird history to know. New York was commissioned August 1st, 1893. Captain John Phillip in command. Acquisition. In 1888, during the 50th Congress, $3.5 million was authorized for the construction of the New York. So wait, wasn't the other one something like that, and then it was sold for $1,400? Boy, you better start back. I've had about enough of this respect. Oh, well, you can suck my asshole, you piece of shit, fucking pedophile. How's that? Fuck you, fuck Israel, fuck it all. You guys are awful, horrible human beings. And aren't you glad that we brought it back to that? Because we were trying to learn some history stuff, and I guess you just didn't like that, did you? $3.5 million. She was designed by the Navy Department. On August 28th, 1890, the contract for her construction was awarded to William Cramp and Sons of Philadelphia. New York was built as built, had a main armament of 6 8-inch guns, 8-inch 35 caliber Mark III breech loading rifles, and 2 twin Mark V turrets, fore and aft, and 2 open single Mark III and or Mark IV mounts on the sides. Secondary armament was 12 4-inch 40 caliber rapid fire guns in Spronsons along the sides, along with 8 6-pounder 55 millimeter Driggs Schroeder RF guns, 4 1-pounder 37 millimeter Driggs Schroeder RF guns, and 3 14-inch 356 millimeter torpedo tubes for Howell torpedoes. This shit is crazy. This shit is crazy. Well, I don't rape children. And notice how, instead of denying anything I said, you made it sound like I'm rude for pointing it out, which is basically how you guys fight. Next, you'll start talking about how crazy I am and my mental disorders. And, we know the spiel. We know what you bring to the table. New York, as an armored cruiser, had good protection. The belt was 4 inches thick and 9 feet deep, of which 4 feet was below the waterline. 4-inch thick steel. Where did the capabilities to create 4-inch thick steel, huge plates of 4-inch thick steel come from? How did that work? These narratives, they sound cool, but do the logistics. Ask yourself some questions. How does that work? How did they pull that off? There's something seemingly magical about history. Yeah, you're right. It's magical because it's fake as shit. It would require magic. You'd have to be magical to believe this shit. It was 186 feet long, protecting only the machinery spaces. The armored deck was 6 inches thick on its slope sides and 3 inches thick in the flat middle, amidships, but only 2.5 inches thick at the ends. The original gun turrets had up to 5.5 inches of armor on 10-inch barbats, with 5 inches protecting the ammunition hoists. The single 8-inch mounts on the sides were much less protected by 2-inch partial barbets, while the secondary gun sponsons had 4 inches. The conning tower, that's what it was called, the conning tower. Chubby girl, the conning tower. Yeah. was 7 inches thick. During construction, the builder reconfigured New York's boiler arrangement for tighter compartmentation. Damn it. Compartmentation. I mean, just think about that, what I just told you, man. Think about 1880s, 1890s technology. What you think existed. I mean, this thing is just ridiculous. This thing is ridiculous. Look at that shit. Does that even look real? Look at the background.
But which is what happened in my case, in my house.
Like it's just fucking insane to think that that thing was built by us, the people who could build incredible cities and buildings and shit, but didn't have cars, didn't have power tools. There were no power tools around back then. You know, we got to go back to the William Cramp. Okay, so we're back to the company because we want to know how they became this company. The protected cruiser USS Columbia. 3 of these ships took part in the defeat of the Spanish fleet in 1898 at Santiago de Cuba. The victory in this battle heralded America's emergence as a great power. In 1896, Cramps united their artillery arm, the Driggs-Schroeder Ordnance Company, with its main competitor, Hotchkiss Gun Company, and a projectile manufacturer from Massachusetts into American Ordnance Company. American Ordnance Company is in red, meaning there's no page for it. These other companies are listed, and they're not red or blue, but they're letting you know that this one specifically doesn't have a page for it. The American Shipping and Commercial Corporation bought the yard in 1919, but closed it in 1927. As fewer ships were ordered by the U.S. Navy after the adoption of the Naval Limitations Treaty in 1923. It's a good thing they didn't have any other issues about to arise. This is Charles H. Cramp, circa 1900. Now we're just jumping to in 1940. The Navy spent $22 million to reopen the yard as Cramp Shipbuilding to build cruisers and submarines. Dun dun dun. Cramp used the long slipways to construct 2 submarines at a time, with the intention of launching them simultaneously. However, the shipyard submarine construction program was not especially successful, as poor management hindered the delivery of the boats. The first delivery was made 2 years after keel laying, and fitting out was then done by Portsmouth Naval Yard. The best construction time for a submarine was 644 days. Cramp closed in 1947, and the site on the Delaware River in Philadelphia's Port Richmond neighborhood was turned into a residential estate in the early 2020s. A view of Cramp Shipyard, an aerial view from sometime.
That's what I would think.
Yep. That's what we were capable of in the early 1900s somehow. And so just look at the shorelines. Look at all the straight lines and all that shit. That means we were capable of taming the sea so well that I don't know if you guys can even see. There you go. That we were able to along the entire shore, we're able to tame the sea so well. So that's literally. I'm running out of the William Cramp and Sons. That was the company history. That the company history just ended. Now it's notable projects. Giving me a list of bullshit things that they supposedly built. Let's see how well this shit was working. The Psy Corsair in 1890 or 1880, built for C.J. Osborne but sold to J.P. Morgan in 1892. Renamed S.Y. Canepa in 1890, sank in 1898 off the Cuban coast. The S.Y. Stranger in 1880, built for Mr. Osgood, later sold to the U.S. Navy. SS Valencia, a small ocean liner built for the Red D line in 1882. She was wrecked on the coastline of Vancouver Island on January 22nd, 1906, killing around 116 people. Valencia's loss is considered one of the worst shipwrecks in the region, known as the Graveyard of the Pacific. Dun, dun, dun. The Atlantic in 1883. Atlantic was built for financier Jay Gould in the same year that the American Yacht Club was formed. SS Philadelphia, a small ocean liner of 2,499 tons, built for the Red D Line in 1885. They're averaging at least one ship every 2 years. In the 1800s, this is pre-power tools. This is, and again, who's fabricating all of the parts they need? There's no shipping companies. It's not like they can get this part made from these people over in, Florida somewhere or something, and they're shipped to they would literally have to be manufacturing all of these parts, and not just all of the parts, like putting together the parts. They'd have to manufacture each piece that they would then have to put together. They would have to be fabricating everything. Do you realize how just insane this is? And the proficiency at which they're operating? Because it's about to pick up tremendously. Just watch. Don't believe me, just watch. USS Baltimore was launched on October 6th, 1888, and played a major role in the Baltimore crisis that took part in the Spanish-American War. The USS New York, the thing we just saw, was launched on December 2nd, 1891, and became flagship of Admiral William T. Sampson's squadron during the Spanish-American War. And also remember, these are the notable ships that they built. They were building all sorts of other ships at the time as well. Considering Henry Ford hadn't invented the production line yet, how do you think these were all getting built? This foundry, this factory. How long did it take them to build the yard, to tame all that ocean, and then build all their different spots? Like, think about the property that they're working on, the factories that they're building these things, and the foundries that have to exist. And then they would have to have this constant supply of not only raw materials to then fabricate all of the steel that they're using. They would also have to have an endless supply of fuel for these to create these extremely high temperatures needed to then fabricate these pieces. Fabricate all this 5, 7, 10 inch, 5, 7 inch steel, thick steel, used for all these specific parts that they design. They design it. It's not like they design it and then farm out the designs to some company in Japan that then supplies them with all of their parts, like we seem to think happens now. Doesn't any of this sound fishy to you guys? I mean, you can hate me all you want. Does this sound believable to you? USS Indiana, battleship number 1 of the United States Navy, launched February 28th, 1893, so we're still roughly 2 years. But we also know that there were 3 ships launched at the same time, right? The exact same ship each time, apparently. SS St. Louis, 1894. SS St. Paul, 1895. So let's see. Oh, come the fuck on. The St. Louis scene off New York in 1900. That's from 1900. And then the St. Paul. That was a year later. Wait, let's go back and look at some of these ships. SS Valencia. SS Valencia in 1904. I mean, is this made out of wood? What is this? Type ocean liner. An extension service for Valencia is by a small wooden steamship. Okay, so that's not it.
Yeah. To work for
It
less.
doesn't say.
Isn't that insane?
I assume this is made of wood, but even still, if it's...
Right.
Incidents, final voyage. Doesn't say. I can't find the... Like the history, Iran Valencia continued unrestricted by the ship. Alright, serves and steamships, 3 German vessels were located. Clear that the permanent fleet cargo sail under the... It doesn't give you any of the... Valencia was shorter. An extension service for Valencia and Caracas was provided by the small wooden steamship to the port of wooden steamships of the wooden steamer's namesake. Unlike it was registered under the British flag, operated in the United States. It's over scheduled.
He was reading that wrong. I would venture.
I mean, I just don't. You know, it doesn't say. I'm assuming it's wood. This is the Atalanta. This is photographed in 1887. Steam yacht built in Philadelphia. This was a yacht. This was Jay Gould's personal yacht. Same American yacht. Yacht. Fleet of steamships was considered a great coup. Although fast, its transatlantic capabilities were limited by its capacity to hold coal, which necessitated a stop in the Azores in order to complete the crossing. It made several trips to England after mooring the cows. The Azores, wouldn't that be a cool place to live? How they found that makes you wonder. How they built it makes you wonder. No real. Pretty sure I looked into the history of it once. It wasn't much. Gould died in 1892, and it was sold to the Venezuelan Navy in 1900. That's it. There's no...
Yeah, no, I get it. Well, I have...
It was renamed General Salam and continued service until 1950. This was this guy's personal yacht.
Yes.
Look at that shit. Look at him hanging out on the deck, I guess. Yeah, people just hanging out on there.
She's too afraid.
So stupid. SS Philadelphia. Oh, well, you pull up SS Philadelphia and a bunch of SS Philadelphias pop up, so. USS Baltimore. which was this thing. Jesus Christ. Like, seriously, they're building these every couple years, along with lots of other ships that are getting built at the same time. Was a United States Navy cruiser, the fifth protected cruiser to be built by an American yard. Like the previous one, Charleston, the design was commissioned from the British company of W. Armstrong Mitchell and Company of Newcastle. Baltimore was an all-around improvement on the Charleston, somewhat larger with more guns, thicker armor, and better machinery. I mean, seriously. Baltimore was built to plans purchased from Armstrong, a British manufacturer, and soon unsuccessful. I mean, it's just crazy. I was just looking up the different ships that it's. We saw the New York, the USS Indiana. That's this one again. Like, seriously, this is every year they're building these. Every couple years they're getting commissioned and then built. So we had the St. Louis and then the St. Paul, the first major ocean liners built in the United States after the collapse of the Collins Line in the 1850s. The collapse of the Collins Line. The Collins Line, formerly the New York and Liverpool United States Mail Steamship Company, was an American time company started and then built up by his son Edward Knight Collins. Edward Knight Collins. Under Edward Collins Knight, Knight. Under Edward Collins' guidance, the company grew to be a serious competitor to the British Cunard Line. Early days. The Collins Line, as it was commonly known at the time, were the ships and lines run by the shipping company I.G. Collins. Collins had left the sea in 1818 to establish the shipping company in New York. The firm traded in a fairly small way. In 1824, Israel, was joined by his son Edward. In January 1825, Edward took advantage of a cotton shortage in England to charter a schooner in order to get to Charleston, South Carolina, ahead of his competitors and corner the market in cotton. Gotta love that typical story, right? You take those hard at work. Yep. Somebody learning something. Not out partying. Not out doing fun, cool shit that, shouldn't be able to do. But reading and learning. Oh, how dare I read and learn? It's just terrible. It's terrible. Oh, oh, sorry, man. My bad. I'll take all the responsibility for it. My bad. I'm so used to the shit talk. I thought you were shit talking. Yes, you're right. And as soon as I saw you pointed out the Israel part, I was like, damn. But yes, like they always have to put their signature on things. In January 25, Edward took advantage of the. Okay, blah, 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 blah. In 1827, the company started a line of packets sailing between New York and Veracruz on the Mexican coast. The line prospered. Israel Collins died in 1831, and Edward took over management of the New York New Orleans packet line. He made a great success of this venture as well. That's that. That's the end. That's the early days. and transatlantic up until 1835. Not seriously. It just gets into stupid shit. It just gets into stupid shit. All right. But that's so on November 15th, 1899, St. Paul en route from New York to England with Guglielmo Macroni on board supervising the ship's new wireless telegraph equipment, became the first liner to report her imminent arrival by radio. He's just associated with all of it. Any predictions before the end of the year? Any predictions before the end of the year? Well, I've been telling you guys about the memorandum of understanding and how fucked up it is and how it needs to be re-signed by Trump. I wasn't sure when it was going to be taking place, but it turns out it's actually taking place right now. You know what? As interesting as this is, these guys, the amount of ships that they made, it just goes and goes and goes and goes. And so you guys get the point. You're right. We should be talking about something more important, which is the MOU. MOU Israel. Let's see what's happening here. MOU Israel most commonly refers to the U.S. Israel Memorandum of Understanding on Security Assistance, which provides annual aid and supports missile defense programs. They just put that. However, Israel has recent MOUs with other countries like India for defense technologies collaboration and Morocco for defense procurement. Additionally, other bilateral MOUs exist on such topics. Okay, so U.S. Israel Security Assistance current agreement 10-year MOU is currently in effect, which is set to expire in 2028. See what I mean? So it's usually signed by whatever the president is in 16, whoever that is in 16, and then it goes into effect the next year. But with this last one, there was fuckery because Obama signed it, and with it came two what were called concessions. They said Netanyahu had to make concessions to Obama in order to get the $3.8 billion a year. He had to agree to use that money not to create their own weaponry, but to buy weapons from us to create the illusion that they buy weapons from us. We give them the money so they buy it from us. That's us just arming them. It's just an illusion to make it seem like they're some sort of ally because they buy from us. They don't buy from us. We give. It's like when my mom would take me to the store and give me $20 and tell me to go find her a birthday present. It's like the thought that counts, but you paid for it. Gotcha. I appreciate it. It's fucking stupid that they do that and we fall for that. But it was that, and then the other concession that he had to be willing to give into was that they weren't to ask for any more money until that 10 years was up, which is just ludicrous. It's ludicrous to think that they're not going to demand more money, which they always do. Literally, Trump is signing an emergency $6 billion weapons deal for Israel to supply them with a whole bunch of Apache helicopters and other shit over the next 2 to 3 years. What was the emergency? Why did it have to bypass Congress? Because it was emergency legislation. It's fucking insane, right? It's just insane. But so that was what the MOU originally stated. But by the time it was signed by Trump, and then I figured it was sort of re-signed again by Biden in 2020, but I guess it didn't really matter. It had already gone into effect. I'm not sure. But by the time Trump got it, those two concessions were eliminated. And instead, it was that the U.S. would keep a cache of weapons in Israel to be used for emergencies. But if Israel needed to use it, they could access the cash anytime they wanted to. And if you remember a couple of years ago, there was a little bit of a stink made when the United States was going to give Ukraine some ammunition that they were going to take out of that cash, only to find that cash was empty. You guys remember that? Congress, useless turds, all bought and sold. APAC. APAC controls Congress. Annual funding. The agreement provides approximately $3.3 billion in foreign military financing and $500 million for missile defense programs annually. So the $3.3 billion is cash. The whole $3.8 billion is a cash payment that they're given, lump sum cash payment in the first fiscal month of every year. It's supposed to be that $500 million of it is for missile defense, and then $3.3 billion is for foreign military financing. But that's just what they say. It's just bullshit. It's just cash. We just give them cash. And that 3.8 billion turns into roughly 15 billion shekels. The recent Epstein list is a distraction, but from what? From the murder. From the genocide taking place. From the fact that we're waking up to the Friar conspiracy left and right. People are waking up to it. To the point where they have to use Ian Carroll's and people, and the Young Turks and whatnot to say things like, you can't blame all of the cult members. No, it's just the Zionists. Gotta focus on the Zionists. Not everybody in the cult is bad. I have some friends that are nice to me. They're my good friends. And they're cult members who believe horrible, horrible shit. Controlled opposition, exactly. So it's literally getting to the point where people are starting to say, hey, that Zionist thing is silly, because it's not Zionist. When you see the videos of the bus pulling up to the area that's been cleared, the door opens and they go running out to go claim their house that was a Palestinian's house not too long ago, filled with all their furniture and clothes and their possessions that they couldn't take with them. And these friars are running out, pushing each other to get to whatever house they want to claim, and then it's theirs. That's not Zionists doing that. It wasn't Zionists that were storming the facility where the rapist was being held, demanding that he was released, and then giving him a standing ovation every time he goes anywhere. Those aren't Zionists. It's not the Bottom of Darkness article wasn't exposing Zionists, what Zionists are doing. They only spit on me once. Right. That's literally how stupid people feel, or how stupid people sound to me. Because that's what no, it's okay. They only spit on me once. No, they could have spit on me a lot more, but it's only once. Future negotiations. Israel is reportedly seeking a new 20-year agreement with the United States to replace the current one. Yeah, that's what's in talks right now. Because they know just how unpopular they are and how unlikely they are to be able to continue to get away with what they get away with. And so they're trying to lock in this 20-year deal instead of the normal 10-year deal, because they know that the next 20 years is going to be rough for them. The next 20 years is the generation that's currently protesting them at all the major universities and colleges. That's going to be that generation coming into power. And so they need to lock in their security with that generation coming in, knowing it would take all sorts of legal hoopla to be able to override that shit. What do you think we can do? All of the finger pointing and talking is getting us nowhere. How do you think we can break the cycle? Unification. Exactly. It literally means it's breaking the cycle. And that's the thing that I'm struggling with is how do we get people to do that? You know, every single Christian knows that their community is, that their religious hierarchy is known to consistently rape children, and yet they still belong to it. Every single Christian knows that Jesus was a Jew, and that the Bible is all it's Jewish history. It's Jewish fairy tale. All the characters, the main characters, they're all Jewish in that book. It's not about Christians. The Goyim, the Gentiles, are a separate group of people spoke about separately, and they're the slaves. If you're not the chosen, then you're just one of the slaves. And you know this already. And yet you still accept it. Like this is the part I'm how do we get past it? You know, all these Trump supporters. I don't know. I really don't know. To me it seems really obvious. Like when you're talking to the Trump supporters, and again, they're all America first, and you go, "Yeah, don't you think we should stop giving all that money to Israel?" They're like, "Well, Trump didn't say we should. Trump said we should support Israel, so we do." What happened to the America First thing? I'm an atheist first and foremost. No subscription to fairy tales. I do understand the power they hold all religious entities. Yeah, but the power is stupidity. I mean, we have to be real about it. And I always think of Seven when you're sort of talking about this. And when what's his name is saying, sometimes you can tap somebody on the shoulder a bunch of times and they're going to ignore you. Sometimes you need to smack them in the head with a shovel before they'll pay attention to you. And then you have their full attention. But, you know, everybody's always so worried about PC and feelings and all that shit. And you need to not worry about feelings, but you also need to know how to handle it and dismantle the approach that comes at you. So when they come at you with the why you're hurting my feelings, you have to be able to say, well, I know if I was telling you that your hair was made of spaghetti and your feet were meatballs, you just laugh at me, right? Well, yeah. Why? Because it's not true. You know it's not true. Yeah. Well, you're upset with me for the same reason. Because you know it's true. Or you know what you believe is not true. Because if it was as stupid as, spaghetti hair, then you would just, whatever, you wouldn't care. You're upset because you know I'm right. And you can't come up with anything, different to say. And that's okay. That's your brain telling you something's wrong here. You folks don't understand a damn thing. You're right. I admit it. I absolutely admit. I do not understand why anyone is a Christian. Even like the supposed good part is fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid. What are you talking about? You got to follow the rules and the laws laid out by the chosen people, because when you die, then the real party starts. Like, what? How'd they trick you into that? Hey, whatever you do, don't talk about what you see is wrong here. Keep that all to yourself. And if you just follow the rules and you do what you're supposed to do, and you live as long as you can, getting by check to check, suffering, but you don't complain, when you die, whew, man, it's going to be a good time. Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Like, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. And I just, how do you continue to believe it? It's 2025, so they say. Why would you you know, why would you still accept such obvious fairy tale nonsense? It is all hypocrisy. It's stupid. It's just stupid. That's what it is. It's stupid. Hey, I need to switch with you. I need to switch with you. I need to switch.
And I don't know what you're capable of.
What are your views on animal rights, veganism? I ask as a vegan and someone that shares many views. I can tell you I hate myself because I have gotten away from
I will say that mine is.
my vegetarian diet. I had been a vegetarian for many years, and I just got so bored eating the same. Is I you know, and I broke. But eating animals is gross. They don't have any. Like animal rights is one thing. You know, I don't.
Usually I have them all up.
Animals are animals, right? They're not equal to us. We are people. They are animals. Maybe because of that, or in spite of that, whatever you want to look at it, we shouldn't abuse them. You know, to abuse a lower life form just because you can is a horrible thing to do. And eating animals is gross. It's fucking gross that we do that. That we've been raised to do that.
Squeeze him. Squeeze him right now. I tell him it's from his dad.
You know, I hate myself. I really do, because of what sandwiches. Sandwiches got me. I missed sandwiches so much, and I really wasn't. I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, for my whole life, like as poor as me and Ange ever have been, we always spent the money to eat well, to not eat the shittiest shit food. So food has always been a real important aspect of my life. And to take that away, to just start eating for sustenance instead of enjoyment was really difficult, was hard on me. And I'd like to get back to where I was. But it's hard. Being poor has a lot to do with it, you know. It's hard to afford variety, and then there's the other side of it where, like, eating the fake burgers and shit. What the fuck am I eating there? Impossible Whoppers and or Impossible Burger Patties. Well, what is that? I know they say it's this, but what is it for real? I don't know. I can tell you 11 years in that there are very awesome foods and creative ways to enjoy a plant-based lifestyle. I feel you can do it, man. No, I know I can. I know it. I'm getting there. It's like it's the thing is switching, and I'll be back soon because I'm getting sick of it. It's bothering me more and more every day.
All of it. I really enjoyed this truck.
But at the same time, it's like, again, I only, it's not about all these other things or health benefits or anything to me. It's about the idea of eating something dead is gross. And I just kind of close my eyes and enjoy it instead of thinking. I don't want to think about it. If I think about it, it really ruins the meal. There's energy in the foods we eat. Yes, exactly. Yeah, but like I say, again, then you end up switching and eating things like the impossible foods just because you want.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I grew up eating. This is how I've been programmed to eat my entire life. And to completely switch it is just it's difficult. Anyway, I appreciate you being here. Don't forget to get your free download. Everybody check out the
Links in the description. www.the-bilderberg-group.com. It's free. It's free to download. Free to listen to. All we ask is to share it with someone. Don't ask you how much you want to pay. Just click zero, and then it's free for you. Go check out the links, man. Go check out Hollywoodism, the most important film ever made. Go check out Israel Hayom, Bottom of Darkness, the article. It's the most important article ever fucking written. And it's so important that the page will keep kicking you off of it if you try to read it. But you got to be diligent and just stick it out. You'll figure it out. Just keep scrolling back. Do what you got to do to read it. Because it explains everything. Between Israel Hayom, Bottom of Darkness, and Hollywoodism, it literally explains the why as to, the world we live in. It's all right there. It's easy to see. How do you have a people that can be so awful? Because from a very young age, they're ritualistically sexually assaulted, raped, and brutalized. And then when they become adults at 13, they're forced to do it to other kids, completing that circuit and creating these monsters. I've seen Hollywoodism, good watch. Europa Last Battle is also great. Yeah, I have to see that one still. But you know me, I'll be here every day, so hopefully. Don't forget to just check out the receipts, check out the description, see if any of that stuff makes sense. Definitely check out the Bottom of Darkness article if you haven't gotten there yet. Also read about the Havara agreement and all the other things I have highlighted in there. Check the stuff out. It's there. The answers are there. So we will talk to you guys later. Most importantly, have a great day, and you pedophiles, you kill yourself.